Kevin, Mr. Peace, we all know him. He's a Citizens for Peace buddy. He's an incredible advocate for young people. He travels all over the country. You'll hear about what he does anti-bullying programs. We support him, and we've known and loved him for years. He is the example of what happens when your passion meets what you do. When you take what you love and what you're talented at and you put it out to the world, you get a Mr. Peace, Kevin Szawala. Wherever he goes, love explodes. When he goes to talk to these young people, it's an incredible experience, and you're going to experience a little bit of that, and then we have other fabulous performers. We're so excited with David and Kid. He's a kid. There we go. We got a kid here. Joe Kidd and Sheila Burke. And so I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful MC and our peace man, Mr. Peace.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, so just to wake us up tonight after all that great pizza and cake, I'm going to open with some hip-hop, if that's cool with you guys. Okay. So 2 fingers up for peace, just like that. And let's rock it here. All right. Yeah, where are we at here? Okay. Just leave it right there. That's good. Okay. 2 fingers up for peace. Livonia, Michigan. I got something to tell you. That's why I'm here tonight to rap this tune. So listen to me and hear what I have to say. Hey, it's Mr. Peace, yeah, and Colleen Mills, and you're my family. Let's break it down and start sharing about our feelings, about a new way that'll help promote healing. But be honest, pinky promise, if you really want peace, and if you do, then show your hands, please. I mean, for real, we need to take the opportunity by including others, cause that's our responsibility. At lunch or recess or even in the hallways, any chance to be a friend throughout the whole school day. Cause with peace, I need all your support. I need everyone to step it up. Grades K to 4 and 5, be good role models while demonstrating non-violence. Put an end to all of the hating that you see. Yo, you gotta have each other's back through the thickest of thick and the darkest shade of black, the lowest of lows and everything to look back. Peace brings love, that's exactly what we lack. Just let them say that you're peaceful. And if you got peace, I got peace too. I'm saying whoa, just let them say that you're peaceful. And in the words of Gandhi, peace be with you. Citizens for Peace, when I say peace, you all say in. Peace. Peace. And when I say peace, you all say out. Peace. Peace. And when I say be, you all say kind. Be. And when I say show, you all say love. Show. All right, now we're warmed up. Good job. Give yourself a round of applause. Awesome. Let me just get back to our presentation there too. So it's an honor to be here with everybody tonight and see some familiar faces, some old faces that I haven't seen in a long time. And the more I started thinking about and praying about what I wanted to share with everybody tonight, and the way I wanted this evening to flow was to have some great music, some hip-hop, some poetry. I may still do a freestyle battle with Colleen Mills later. We'll see how it goes. But I really just wanted to, have us share our hearts with each other, but really reflect on what we've been through over the last 14 years. I remember when I first met Colleen and everybody here, I was this tall. Back in 2008, and it's almost been 10 years, and I've committed my life, as many of you have, to peace and nonviolence. And that's really what this is all about. I opened with this hip-hop track because that's the amount of energy that I take to my school assemblies, and that's one of the tracks that I perform for the students. And you can imagine 1,000 kindergartner through 4th graders all screaming peace and show love, right? If you go to the next slide, this is really where it started for all of us, right? That it was a dream. Just as these two individuals had this dream. And this started 14 years ago, almost to the day, where we decided, and you all decided too, the people that were the founders of this group here in Livonia, Michigan, that peace has had such a huge impact on your lives and on your hearts. It was worth braving the snow and the hail and the wind and the tornadoes and the hurricanes, well, maybe not Michigan, but braving a lot of elements to come here, right? You go to the next slide, and one of the hooks in my songs says that it's love over hate, it's peace over war. It's the dream that MLK and Gandhi lived for. But now it's our time to keep doing right, because we know in just 2 seconds we can save a life. And MLK did say, right, he said that the time is always right to do what is right. The time's always right to do what is right. You go to the next slide. Dalai Lama had said, and this is one of the things, unfortunately, that gets in the way of us doing things right in a lot of our culture and people in general that get influenced by the media, but he said that when somebody asked him about, what's the most surprising thing about humanity, he said, man, woman, because he or she sacrifices their health in order to make money. Then they sacrifice their money to recuperate their health. And then they're so anxious about the future that they're not even enjoying the present. The result being that we don't live in the present or the future. We live as if we're never going to die, and then we die having never truly lived. And I can say, standing up here at age 32, that I feel that, what I've done, even over these last 10 years, but my life thus far has been very fulfilling, and that a lot of you too that have fought blood, sweat, and tears for whatever cause it is that relates to peace and social justice, that if you died tonight too, you would be fulfilled. Go to the next slide. Unfortunately, those things still continue to plague us and our peace of mind. And so the average human being has 50 or 60 thoughts per minute. And this could be whether you chose to have cheese pizza or pepperoni, right? Or chocolate cake or vanilla. And hopefully there's some chocolate left for me to take home with me tonight. But the idea is that on average, 50 or 60 a minute equals 60 to 78,000 thoughts per day that we're having, the average human being, right? Whether we put the right pant leg on before the left, or whether you choose to listen to one word that I have to say right now, or whatever these artists have to say tonight. But out of these 60 to 78,000, research has shown, recent empirical evidence, next slide, that 80% of these thoughts are negative in nature. For the average human being, 80% are negative in nature, which is saying that we're playing the same negative record over and over and over in our minds. And all these negative thoughts potentially lead to a negative consequence, the worst being self-hate and non-love. Next slide. Out of these 60 to 78,000, 98% are the same thoughts you were having just yesterday. So we're creatures of habit. We're creatures of habit. And unfortunately, if we don't choose to weed out the negativity or the violent thoughts or anything that we see are bombarded by on a daily basis, we can be influenced by that. Anybody ever had food poisoning here? Okay, we don't have to go into details, but I had it from Taco Bell once. And your body rejects it in more ways than one and in more areas than one, right? But the idea is that if we poison our minds or our hearts, it doesn't know the difference. If you say or believe whatever you tell this to your heart, to your mind, it's going to believe that, right? That somebody says you're worthless, or that you're a mistake, or that you're the problem, or that you're not good enough, or that you're not enough. And so many youth I speak to believe those words that are told to them from people that they care about. And if they don't move past that, then they fall into this trap. Next slide. So here's the good part about it though, right? That despite being broken, we're still okay. And you go to this next slide, we have a choice to focus on the positive, right? There was that Jewish rabbi, you might have heard the story before, but he came into a cancer institute and put a black dot on the wall, huge whiteboard and just one black dot in the middle. And he said to these cancer patients, pretend that's your cancer, but that everything else, all the great things in your life, your dreams, your hopes, your aspirations, the health you have still, the air in your lungs, your family, your friends, focus on that, right? Change your angle of vision. And there was that story about a Cherokee grandfather and his grandson, and every night he always went to his grandfather to get a story. And he goes there and the grandfather says, I'm going to tell you a story tonight about two wolves that battle in all of our hearts. And that one wolf is evil, greed, envy, jealousy, hate, non-forgiveness, violence. And the other wolf is love, joy, peace, kindness, forgiveness, patience, joy. And the grandson looks at the grandfather and says, well, which wolf wins? And he says, the one that you feed. So we have this choice no matter what happens. And I know we've been through some recent pain. I've been talking to a few people as they entered tonight. But you go to the next slide. I have a new motivation. As of May, I lost several people within a month's stretch. This is my Aunt Linda. She was 80. Next slide. Within 24 hours, I lost my Uncle JC. He was 81. Next slide. Our neighbor lost her life, Shelby Seaburn, 22 years old, just graduated from Oakland University. There was a road rage incident on I-75. You might have heard about it. Next slide. I just got brought into a school. Riley, Michigan, Memphis High School. Quincy Hope, 14 years old. Took his life. And it's ironic his name is Hope, right? But the best way to honor these people's legacy is by how we choose to live today. That they didn't die in vain. We still honor their memory by how we choose to act, what we choose to say and do. And they still live on through us in our hearts. This last slide for this portion of the program, this is my friend Egypt. And if you've driven down I-94 recently, you've seen her billboard. They're still trying to find out who shot her back in June. And the reason I also performed the first song, she was supposed to be on that hook or on the chorus. So I still want to honor her memory and who she was for me, but it's a different approach I'm taking this time around than back in 2010 when I had about 5 or 6 people very close to me that passed at too young of an age, right? And this is now them being more fuel to my fire, more motivation for why I lose sleep at night. When I'm driving out to Milwaukee to speak to a high school or middle school, or flying out to Cali on a red eye, or going out east. And since 2006, I've been in 20 states now. Almost 1 million youth I've spoken to. And it started here. So it's really cool to have that. So just to honor some of the pain that we also have to move past in order to let the peace prevail in our hearts, I want to do a track that Egypt and I wrote, and it's called Where'd You Go? If you have lighters, you can get those out, or maybe cell phones at least, and we can just honor her here. You know, I don't know why so much pain and loss has to happen. I don't have all the answers. Only He does. And sometimes the best thing to do is just listen, trust it. It was back in '04 when Grandpa died and my shirt was soaking wet with tears from my eyes. You tried to calm me down, tried to plead your case, but I just spit that faith right back in your face. And you said, well, you may not understand now. Somehow, someday, some way, you'll find out why it had to be. Yeah, according to his plan, he won't put you through anything that he thinks you can't make it through with. His everlasting love. You may need to scream at the top of your lungs, cause while you think he died at too young an age, it really was his time. There's no reason for rage. He's in a better place now, away from the pain and the stress and the hate and the hurt and the strain. The best way to honor him and his legacy is to live how he did and not questioning. And just back and forth like this. You need to put your arm around someone next to you, just to reach out. Human touch is huge, but we're honoring Egypt and anybody that's fallen, gone before us, because they still live on through us. Verse 2. I got the phone call from Grandma Flo and I was like, no, God, no, please, no. Tell me it ain't so. Tell me that I'm dreaming. Tell me a way to get rid of all these feelings that I'm now having of anger and fear. I just saw Peyton in June of this year. It wasn't that long ago I gave her a hug and told her I missed her to stay in touch. She said, sure thing, but little did I know those would be the last words coming from her throat that I would hear prior to her death. I'd give anything to hear just half her breath. Just give me an hour or even 5 minutes to hold her once more, just one last visit. I want to let her know it'll all be okay, but maybe she already is and there's no need to say. Citizens for peace. We have a lot of pain, but sometimes that has to happen. Storms have to happen in order for rainbows to appear and new life to spring up. We have billions of nerve endings, so we're going to feel pain, but we have a choice how to respond to it. You know, it's funny, technically you're already home, but it doesn't change the fact that I'll miss you so much because we cross paths. No matter how much time does pass, I'll always remember of when we first met. You made me feel welcome, taught me how to catch. Was never real close, but when it came to life, you pulled me in close to share your insight. What was right and wrong with the world nowadays? Too many people who are stuck in a daze for days and days, sometimes weeks and months. The only way to beat it was to turn your gaze up, as well as within, or fall into your knees. God, I wish life had some more guarantees, but since it never will, and nothing's ever certain, I won't worry where you went, there's no more burden. Just let it speak to you. Oh man, I wish you, I just want to hold you for just a couple more seconds. I want you to come home on earth here, but it's cool because I know deep down that you're already home. Peace. All right. Thank you. So as we move into the next part of this evening, I just want us to keep in mind why we're here and what really prompted us to even start this movement here in this part of Michigan. And now I'm getting ads popping up, that happens. That it's one dream can change everything. And another dreamer, another peace friend of mine that has been great to reconnect with tonight and on social media is a dear friend of mine, David Nefesh. A great guitar player, great vocalist, just a great human being all around. So please, without further ado, let us welcome to the stage Mr. David Nefesh.
Not so great. A little great, but not so great. Thank you, Kevin. Still soaking up your affecting words and presentation. Nice to see everybody tonight. So when was the last occasion when I was here? How many years ago was that, Kevin? Was that 2008?
2000.
It was a couple years ago. Yeah.
So in keeping with the spirit of the evening, this is a song that I really wrote out of a lot of reflections on personal tragedies that my family was born out of. World War II, the Holocaust, my parents came out at that time, and they yielded 100 people out of rubble, me and my sisters with others. And so it's a song of sort of mourning, but also hope for the future and making things better. So in the spirit of this evening, I started with that song, and it's called For Better Days. I want to bless this day. I want to know that it will be okay. I want to sing some praise for better days. I want to bless this day. I want to know that it will be okay. I want to sing some praise for better days. I'm falling in the dark. It's a broken world and I will do my part. Rise of kindred spirits, won't you rise? For the girl who lost her dad, all the things she never had, and the boy ripped from his home, cousins whom he's never known. For all people everywhere, those who fear and those who dare, anguished mothers unconsoled, with too many tears to hold. Too many tears to hold. The elusive rebirth. I cannot take away what is not mine. Hard lessons to be learned. Love reigns and the fire still burns. Rise of kindred spirits, won't you rise? For the lonely suffering, a single dad without a place, little boy without a shoe, all the people feeling blue, gray skies that have turned to black, all good people fighting back, the woman finally laying her claim, and anyone who died in vain, for those who died in vain. Bless this day. I want to know that it will be okay. I want to sing some praise for better days. Thank you. Will you gaze with me? My lonely window, looking outward together toward the sun. Will you stand in my light as I stand in yours? Two beams kissing till another day is done. Will you hold my hand as I hold yours, ever so gently for freedom of flight? Will you walk with me in the stoked fire, undaunted by fear in the dark thick of night? This is my dream, and I see you there. in your pretty red dress and your shiny guitar. You're my hidden angel, my heart you untangle, whether you're near or you're far. Oh, this is my dream, and I see you there, in your pretty red dress and your shiny guitar. You're my hidden angel, my heart you untangle, whether you're near or you're far. Will you delight in my shadow, bellyache with laughter at our many flaws? Will you fly with me high like wild horses with wings, taking pause at beauty and awe? Will you fight for love, you and your children, make a warm nest on which you can depend? 'Cause I'd fight for you until my last breath, even if I was alone till the end. This is my dream, and I see you there, in your pretty red dress and your shiny guitar. You're my hidden angel, a heart you untangle, whether you're near or you're far. Shiny guitar, you're my hidden angel, a heart you untangle, whether you're near or you're far. Oh, whether you're near or you're far, whether you're near or you're far. So it seems like the fall and winter weather hit us just sort of suddenly, because we kind of had a really extended, beautiful summer. This is a song about change and not holding on to things too tightly. And it's called Summer's End. It's a sad song. Late afternoon at the fair, music stirring, I almost saw you there. I felt your breath on my face, ghostly winds, my heart is out of place. Oh, why does the road seem dark under its skies? You kick open a door for love's surprise. Hope builds up, then it goes right, then it dies. So many months they come and go, first impressions I might have told you so. How to foretell seasons end, it's so important just to not pretend. Oh, why does the road seem dark under the sky? You kick open the door for love's surprise. Hope builds up, then it goes right, la 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 la, then it dies, la 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 la. Fall is coming near, and so I shed a tear with summer's end. Hey, newborn baby in the fray, growing quickly, then she's off on her way. Take from love all you can, steeping inside you'll be a better man. Oh, why does the road seem dark under its sky? You kick open a door for love's surprise. Hope builds up, then it goes right, la 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 la, then it dies, la 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 la. Fall is coming near, so I shed a tear with summer's end. It's summer's end. Thank you. Looking in your eyes, I see a shiny star. I think I'll chase it far and follow you forever. Sitting on the bus, holding a seat for you. It's the least I can do for shining all your light. Your light, oh your light. Light. I hear and see and hold you in your light. In your light. Let's go for a walk on a road that never ends, to dancing and holding hands with our children's children. I want to love you free, praise the morning sun. Goodbye till the day is done, come home to you at night. At night, oh the night, with you the night. I hear and see and hold you in the night. In the night. looking in your eyes. I see a shiny star. Thank you. I'm going to play one more song. Makes sense, right? One more. It's written by a friend of mine named Marilyn, and she sent me some poetry at night. She's a songwriter. Songwriters do that. To send poetry to their songwriter friends in the middle of the night. Actually, it turned out to be a song that she had written, and I didn't know. I thought she was working up some new lyrics. And I kind of flew with it and wrote some music around the words. And I didn't realize until we had our weekly songwriter evening at her house that I'd stolen her song. Because I came over, I said, guess what, I have a surprise for you. And I put the lyrics in front of her, which I added to a little bit to fit with the music. And she goes, oh, you wrote a song with the same words. And I was mortified, because I didn't realize I kind of snatched her song completely. But it turned out to become our song. So she wrote most of the lyrics, I added some, and the music sort of somehow came from the place between us. This is called When We Make Music. Thanks to Kevin and all of you for having me on this lovely evening. Doves inside me fly, 100 hours could pass me by. Feel just like the blink of an eye when we make music. Sad songs are often sung alone, good feeling ones get in your bones. Songs we sing to friends on phones when we make music. Come on, time to take off again. Take my hand, we'll chase the horizon. There's no need to stop on the other side. Yeah. Alone on our own private Mars, darting between magic stars, laughing in cafes and bars when we make music. Leave the earthly world behind, so many places yet to find. All my friends are usually kind when we make music. Come on, time to take off again. Take my hand, we'll chase the horizon. There's no need to stop on the other side. No! Hey, 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 hey. La, 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 la. Gossamer wings, velvet strings, sad goodbyes, lovely and lace, a beautiful face, the lady cries. Cardinal sings, she changes her strings, and her heart flies. See her go, she finds the flow. I'm breathless, I could die when we make music. Hey, 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 when we make music. La, 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 la. Hey, hey, hey. Thousand doves inside me fly, 100 hours could pass me by. Feel just like the blink of an eye when we make music. will be donating 30% to Citizens for Peace. And if anybody wants to hire me for a house concert, which is actually very affordable, anything coming out of this evening, I will donate 30% to Citizens for Peace. So, bless you all.
Thank you so much. David Nefesh, one more time, round of applause. I was ready to get the tambourine for a little bit in that last track. I was loving that. Thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. As we move into the next part of the evening, let's remember to let go our egos and let go our ego. And please give us all we could ever need and more. To not be afraid to cause a commotion, to not be a robot going through the motions. I won't conform, heck no, I'll be formed by the truth till I've broken every single norm. And been transformed, call me Optimus Prime. Bulletproof to temptation and any man's lies. Don't shy off the beaten path, leap off it. And the mold they put you in, scream out it. Because when bombarded by torrential rain, the only way to get through it is to face strain. Take it head on, embrace for any consequence. People hating up a storm weather's inclement, but I'm chomping at the bit ready to make a scene, till the coward in me's been blown to smithereens. Giving off a loving odor anywhere I go, the aroma of peace drench my soul. And any ramification coming my way, same approach MLK used back in the day. If you go to the next slide, a big portion of what they stood for and what they embodied and what we try to strive for too with the Citizens for Peace is this concept of one race human, right? That we're able to see everybody as human beings before anything else. Whether that person was born differently than us, a different skin color, a different language, a different background, a different country, different hairstyle, clothing style, they walk differently, they talk differently, they see differently, they hear differently, they learn differently. We still see them first and foremost as human beings before anything else. Go to the next slide. There's a speaker named Nick Vujicic. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of him before, and he's been on TV and speaks all over the world, born without any arms and without any legs. He has a wife, 2 kids from Australia. He's in his 30s as well. And growing up, he was bullied to the point, you can imagine, that he had thought about taking his life on multiple occasions. But it's cool, there's a story, he was speaking at elementary school in a gym about maybe 3 times the size of this sanctuary. And on one side of the gym there were some bleachers. And at the end of the assembly, all the students and teachers started to exit and leave. But this mom was there with her 3-year-old daughter watching the assembly. And we all know what 3-year-olds do, whatever they want. And she was just like waiting for 45 minutes, like on edge, ready to just burst out, like her energy, right? So finally people are leaving and exiting. She's like, okay, just go. So she bolts. And she starts to just, skip and hop and twirl and cartwheels and float. And she's running full steam all around the gym. She's the same height as Nick. And he's off his wheelchair saying goodbye to people. Usually he's on it. But at the last second corner of her eye, she catches them and slams on the brakes, and they're face to face. And she takes a step back and she looks him up and down. And she says, what's going on here? She's never seen anybody without arms and legs, right? This 3-year-old. But her next move, without really thinking, she puts both of her arms behind her back like this. And she hugs him with her neck like this. And it was so beautiful because she didn't care how tall he was, the brand name of his clothes, whether he had arms or legs. All she cared about was the heart. And that's our goal, is to be able to see that. And unfortunately, like I said before, things cloud that. We have to heal, become healed people to heal people. And be able to see others for what's on the inside first. Just like, next slide, puppies. And these are our 3 fur babies. We have Mrs. Murillo on the left, Kiki Melaniki in the middle, and Bare Bones Jones III on the right. And if you go to the next slide, this is them at Christmas. And then next slide, Easter. This is Bear's best friend, Dakota. They actually just had another play date. Next slide. This just today. Keep going. I'm in the sandbox. And Dakota has to wear a diaper, right? He has a diaper usually on 95% of the time. Next slide. He's also in a wheelchair. And the reason I'm showing you this, and why I show a lot of youth that I speak to, is that, I asked them the question, do you think that Bear cares 1 ounce that that his best friend is disabled? And they say no. Go to the next slide. All he cares about is that when it's time to play with Dakota, and we'll tell him Dakota's coming over, and he runs to the door, and he'll wait like this for an hour and a half. Just stay right at the door, waiting for his best friend. And as soon as he comes through, it's playtime, it's kisses, hugs, everything. You guys have a pet or a dog, know what I'm talking about. No matter what kind of day you had, they had, how you're looking on the outside, what's going on the inside, they're going to still show you this love. Next slide. And this is a story here about a boy named Shane, 6 years old in this picture, and his dog Belker. And his parents came to Shane and said, Shane, you know, we have to put Belker down. He's very sick, he's old, and he's been suffering. And Shane's playing with his toys, and he looks up for a second, and he says, okay, I understand. And he goes back to playing with his toys. And they're like, did you not just hear us? Like, what's going on? And I said, okay, well, they just thought maybe he didn't really hear right. And so they said, well, okay, we're going to pick you up after school. We got to go to the vet, and we have to do this. So they get to the vet. Now the doctor's telling Shane what's going to happen, that Belker's getting very old, he's been suffering, he's in a lot of pain, and we have to put him to sleep. And Shane looks at the doctor and says, yeah, I know. It's okay. And the doctor's like, why aren't you crying? Why aren't you showing emotion? What's going on? And he said, well, because I know why dogs don't live as long as humans. Because they've already understood the meaning of life. Unconditional love. It just takes us longer. And I mean, that's really what we were created to do, right? Is to show that. Some through our music, some through our food, our books, our languages, our fight for social justice. That's what we're here for. Next slide. So now we'll move into the next portion of the night, and I want to invite, before we have my great friends Joe Kidd and Sheila Burt close us out, I wanted to invite John Wilson up to perform a track or two around peace. So please welcome to the stage Mr. John Wilson.
Great movie, but it made me think a lot. So I wrote this song. You're going to have to sing it with me, Phil, okay? Because the song is really about you. And you ready? Here's your words. Let us pray for peace, for that is our way. Let us pray for peace, for that is our way. Let us pray for peace, for that is our way. Let us pray for peace, for that is our way. Sure you got it? One more time, just to make sure you got it. Let us pray for peace, for that is our way. There's a whole group of people standing on a big rock as it swirls around this heavenly place. Don't think they know, some ain't got a clue, but there's some that know just what to do. Here's your part. Let us pray for peace, for that is our way. Let us pray for peace, for that is our way. Let us pray for peace, for that is our way. Don't you agree? Yeah. That's what you do. And in the movie, it kind of explained that. There's a whole universe of cosmic debris, and a whole lot of people just trying to get free. And peace, for that is our way. Wonderful.
All right.
Thank you guys for singing with me.
Thank you.
Kind of-
Thanks for doing the song.
You like that song?
Yes, yes.
It gives you a good feeling, don't it?
Here.
One more round of applause, John Wilson. Let us pray for peace. Love it.
You'll be singing that tomorrow, you know.
Jam into that one. Thank you. So, just before I get Joe up here, part of what I wanted to share with you guys is, part of your worth and part of the fact that you guys are extremely special. If you go to the next slide, let me bring these down a little bit. Some background. Albert Einstein, for those of you that don't know, his teachers had quoted him as being retarded. And he didn't speak till he was 4, he didn't read till he was 7, but yet was labeled a genius, right? So he said there's 2 ways to live. One is though nothing is a miracle, the other is though everything is a miracle. You go to the next slide, if you look at your palms, so your hands, every one of you on one of your palms, at least sometimes on both, you have the letter M with the lines of your hand etched on your palm. So on at least one of your palms, some people have it on both.
Yes.
And if you have it on both, well then you're more of a miracle. No, I'm joking. But no, but yeah, at least one of us, and sometimes there's like a faint line that connects it. And if you can't find it right now, they're going to spend the whole vegetarian potluck dinner trying to help you guys find these, okay? All right. December 12th, is that?
Yes.
That's a plug for the potluck. But this M stands for miracle. And upside down, W, it stands for worthy, but there's so many youth that I speak to that can't see this. And unfortunately, it's not just youth, right? It's people in general that sometimes don't see their worth, don't see that the fact that they're a miracle. And how are we supposed to even show love to someone else or help them, be the illumination to their mirror to help them see this in themselves if we don't see it first in us? If you go to the next slide, I spoke in Massachusetts, and this is Dylan. He's a 3rd grader. And it broke my heart because the story I shared with them was the same exact coincidence story with him too. But he came up to me after my talk, and he had also pulled a note out of his pocket and was going through a divorce in his family, stepchild, a lot of issues at home, getting picked on for his size, being small for his age. He said, "Mr. Peace," on the piece of paper he said, "I look at this once a day to remember who I am," and it said, I'm a mistake. And he said, "But I don't want to believe that anymore. I don't want to believe that anymore. I want to believe this." And that's why he wanted to show his picture at some of the schools that I get to visit. The next slide, this is some of his classmates. They sent me a picture that week, all tracing their M's to show that they're going to support Dylan, right? And I thought it'd be fair, since we didn't have as many youth show up tonight as we'd like, to hear from some of the youth in East Bridgewater, Massachusetts. And these youth ranged from grades 3 to 6, and this is what they had to say about peace and what it means after hearing the message I shared with them that day.
Thank you, Mr. Peace, for coming to our school, because you teach us that to keep peace and that to make sure all of us are a miracle.
Breathe.
Thank you for coming to our school and touching our hearts. I have a full-grown heart now.
It was really touching and helped everybody realize that the world needs more kindness and peace, and people really need to realize that. So thank you.
Mr. Peace, you've changed my life. I used to be bullied, and I thought about it a lot, but I don't anymore because of you. You just changed everything. I feel like I never felt better myself. I was afraid to like be different because I thought people would be. I'm actually wearing the shark pants that I was afraid to today because I was
Check them out.
Yeah, I was actually really afraid to wear these because I didn't know what other people would think of them, and actually people love them, and I'm really happy and I feel really confident again. Thank you so much. You've changed everything.
It made me feel better about myself because people with disabilities are still positive, and it made me feel more positive about myself.
Thank you, Mr. Peace, for coming to our school and promoting kindness and spreading peace. Because everybody is a miracle in their own way, and I think that should be celebrated.
Hi, Mr. Peace. I wanted to say thank you, and your presentation really touched me because when I was a lot younger, I was always being bullied and picked on. And hearing you say that there's people and it's okay to be like that really touched me, especially when there was times when I was called Bird Dog Bird because that's my Egyptian name, and I always loved history, and I would always be picked on about that. I mean, I remember having gum thrown in my hair and lollipop sticks and food at lunch, and it absolutely stunk. But one day I just walked up to him and I was like, what are you doing to yourself? You're gonna get in trouble, and it's not a good thing for your life or anything like that. And I wanted to say thank you because that really means a lot for me. To hear somebody stick up for me like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peace, for coming to our school. You inspired me by changing who I am.
You've inspired me to accept everyone and know that we're all here for a reason.
You've inspired me to be happy all the time by looking at these.
You inspired me by learning to be kind to everyone, no matter their gender or their race.
You've inspired me to remember it doesn't matter what's on the outside, it matters what's on the inside.
We're all miracles. Peace and.
All right. So it was really cool. Obviously, it's hard for me not to get teary-eyed when I watch some of that. I ended up receiving 180 of those video testimonials, so I had to go through and read through quite a few. I had a 9-year-old named Ava who came up to me, a 3rd grader, at lunch right here at a school here in Michigan, and she said, you know, what you shared today, she was 9 years old. She said, what you shared today will be on my heart for the rest of my life. So I had to excuse myself. I walked away for a second, and I only had 25 minutes with that school that day. And if I'm able to touch a heart in 25 minutes, you know, you think about the impact you can have on someone's life over an entire school year, over an entire lifetime. And to start instilling this in our youth at this age is huge, and the need is there. Go to the next slide. A student named Danny had drawn this, and he had the fist, you know, as big as your heart. Your fist is as big as your heart, and he had the peace sign. But he said, Mr. Peace, you gave me something I've been searching forever to find. A reason to stay. Every bracelet I have thousands of these. I picked another 10 or 12 to put on tonight, but they were all from students that said, Mr. Peace, if you didn't come today, I wouldn't be here tomorrow. And these are 3rd graders, 4th graders, 5th graders, ready to check out. So the need for us to be all in is beyond paramount, right? It's vital. We could save lives. You go to the next slide. If we live to be 80, and some of us, I'm assuming, potentially already are here in this room, you're going to have taken on average 673 million breaths, 23,000 a day. Heartbeats, 3.4 billion on average. That's 115,000 a day. Our goal is to make as many count as possible. And the last slide. Mark Twain, he said the 2 most important days in your life are the day that you're born and the day that the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl. And the day that you find out why. So you look behind you and you look to your left and right, and in front of you if there's someone there, that's a big part of why you're here. Are the people that matter the most to you and the people that need us the most. So I encourage us as we move on to the 15th year to take what we've heard tonight and over these last 14 years and just really reflect on, be grateful and thankful and celebrate. But then starting tomorrow, get right back into it and take the action behind it to push peace forward. With that, next slide again. Keeping our dream in mind, let's bring up two of my favorite dreamers, Mr. Joe Kidd and Sheila Burke.
We gotta move furniture. I go to so just take a second. Take these out. I'm going to bring that up front. Just put this in there. Change it. I'll show that.
I spoke to Joe's a couple of times. So K through 12.
Oh, that's good.
All right. While they're setting up, I do house parties too, so if you want to invite David and I to come, a little house party would be great.
All right. We're really happy to be here, and this is, I think I started in 2010. It's the first one I was at the Diag in Ann Arbor. And whenever you come to a peace rally or a gathering, it's kind of bittersweet actually, because although it's an honor to be here and it's an important effort, you kind of wish that you didn't have to be here because you wish that peace had already been found. But we know one thing is that no one's going to find peace. There will not be peace in the world until we have peace in our own heads and in our own hearts. So we need to lay down our swords, just love one another the best we can. And the first thing we have to do is start telling the truth. And I think that might just help it along quite well. We're going to do a couple of songs here that are not on our record. We've got a record out that's been doing really well for a couple of years now, and we're going to do a couple songs from the record and a couple that are not on the record. We've already written a second record, but we haven't started recording it yet. Anyway, this is one from that is not on the first record. Are you ready, Miss Sheila? I think ocean, speak on the land. You can't even speak like a man. Speak to the people, speak from your room. You speak with the voice of the doom. Answer my question. That's if you know. Answer my question. I need to know. Oh, 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 oh. Speak with your rifle. Speak out of breath. You speak with intentions of death. Speak with your Bible. Speak to yourself. You speak when there's nobody else. Answer my question. That's if you know. Answer my question. I need to know. Oh, oh, I need to know. Oh, oh, I need to know. Oh, oh, Thank you, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much. You know, Kevin was telling this story about Nick, and just very shortly, very briefly, I wanted to say one thing. When I was a child, I wore braces up to my waist until I was 12 years old. I went to school with, in the 60s, with children of their mothers had taken thalidomide. And if you remember that nightmare, that horror, and that's what that reminded me of. I'm not sure what his predicament was, but I had a number of friends that suffered a lot. And I spent a long time helping them, defending them. And the world is a brutal place, and especially for people who cannot defend themselves. So we're here for peace, but a lot of people, you can't have, as long as there's one person that doesn't abide by that, then there's really no peace. We all have to come into this thing together, and in order to do that, we have to make that happen. We, right here, you're all people that believe in the same thing as far as that goes, and it's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of energy, but it's worth it though to find peace. And every once in a while we get lucky and we do find it. And that is the nature of man. So we wrote a song about that subject, and it's called The Nature of Man. It's kind of like a boat diddling song. It's the nature of time, make you vanish in a rhyme, to be gone without a sign. It's the nature of time. the nature of time. It's the nature of song. Make you wanna sing along with the birds and the whales. What's going on? It's the nature of song. It's the nature of song. Well, what do we know about nature? What do we know about truth? What do we know about anything? What are we trying to Well, what are we trying to prove? 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 It's the nature of war. Make you wanna shout no. No guns, no pain, no killing floor. It's the nature of war. It's the nature of war. It's the nature of man. Make you wanna lend a hand. Make you do anything you can. Alright. It's the nature of man. It's the nature of man. Well, what do we know about nature? What do we know about truth? What do we know about anything? What are we trying to prove? 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 What are we trying to prove?
How's everybody doing? You holding up?
Thank you so much. We just got back from a 5-day trip through Kentucky and West Virginia, and we were there to sing a few songs at a couple places and also to attend a funeral. Sheila's nephew was, what, 37 years old. He lost his life already. And he didn't live in peace very well. He hadn't gained that skill, did not have that opportunity, but we're praying that he has found it. Anyway, his name was Andy. This is a song about mortality and the struggles that we all go through and the frightening things that happen in life and the realization and the redemption at the end. You want to say something about it?
Can I tell you a story? Just a short little story. We were over in Canada being interviewed on the radio on Saturday, this past Saturday. No, it was a Saturday before. Anyway, what CKOW was it?
Yeah.
So for Joe, it's kind of a dream of a lifetime. It was so fun because he related the story about he heard his very first Beatles record on that radio station when he was a little, kind of a young boy, right? And then he knew in his heart someday he wanted to be on that radio station. So, we were there being interviewed, and Joe's also recently been inducted into the Michigan Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're really blessed. So we're sitting there and we're being interviewed and we're telling funny stories. And we were asked, why did you entitle your CD, Everybody Has a Purpose? So we both talked about it a lot, and we said, when we came out with the songs for this first CD, we knew that that had to be the title song. We knew it because we live it, we believe it, we practice it, we preach it, we breathe it,
we sing it.
We live it. And I was talking about how we also go into the schools and we work with young people, and from little children, and we go into senior facilities and we work with the elderly, because those are populations that are most at risk. And we were talking about suicide and bullying and people feeling that, I commented on that we seem to be human doings instead of human beings. And even a lot of our, say, retired population, once their jobs they've ended that career and they retire, and it's like then all of a sudden they go through this culture shock, and it's like, what gives my life meaning and purpose? The kids are grown and gone, they've moved away. Of course we understand, we love them all, that's great and wonderful, but there's that void inside. And we commented on that, and how I was encouraging people to look within and find something new that motivates or inspires you. Reach out to others in need. And give. If all you can give is a smile, a hug, a word of encouragement, a hello, a friendly greeting, you might make a difference for somebody for that day, right? I believe that. Do you believe that? I believe that with all my heart, and that's why I love what Mr. Peace does. I truly support and believe in what you're doing. God bless you. But I didn't know until I got back across the border and I got the message, please pray for Andy. His life is slipping away. Now it's so ironic, and I'm not going to preach. Probably for 2 years, this 37-year-old young man had talked about suicide. And he just didn't want to live. And he had another friend that committed suicide in May. And the family was saying how devastated we all were. And don't talk about that anymore. Don't think about that. Don't do that. Don't dwell on that. And even though he knew it was painful, he said, I envy him. I wish I had the courage to get a gun and pull the trigger. So how is it that I'm sitting there touting how I believe passionately that everybody has a purpose, and I'm telling everybody who will listen to believe it and live it and make it true. Make it true for yourselves. And at that time, his life was ebbing away. Down in Louisiana. Life can be so ironic, but I do want to tell you, it was not suicide. It was not suicide. It was a heart attack. So, we don't know, what day may be our last. And so I love what you said, make them count. And so I'm freshly back, and I'm sorry if this is too personal. So I've just brought you all into my inner circle. Now you're my family, you're my friends, this is intimate. It's not too personal for me to tell you that I love you, I pray for you, I believe in you, I trust the higher power and your inner power to connect, to create something new, something vital, something worth living for. And I'm not going to stop singing even though I'm freshly back. We're here tonight, and we're going to get on with it, aren't we, Joey? So, just so you know how much this means to us, thank you for having us here and allowing us to share our music and our story, and to believe and to hope and to pray that one little word, one little note, something somewhere will make a difference. God bless you.
There's a shadow at the foot of the bed. I can't tell if it's alive or dead. There's a ghost on the basement stairs. Mama keeps saying there's nothing there. All I know is what I see. All I know, they're here for me. And I won't run, no place to go when you live at the end of the road.
Out in the rain, there stands a man holding a sign in his hand. Somebody's name is hard to read. I can't tell if it's you or me. Nobody moves, nobody breathes, no one arrives, nobody leaves. You walk alone, you're looking slow. When you walk on out to the end of the road. There's a tree at the top of the hill. That fire burns, that fire is real. There's a lake way down below. You can be free, you don't have to go. Open your eyes, you will see down in that hole, down on your knees. You walk on glass, you step on toes when you walk in home from the end of the road. You walk on glass, you step on toes when you walk in home from the end of the road. Yeah.
And this is, we're going to do a song now the song that we actually came here to do. This is the heart of the CD.
This song has won a Global Music Award for the Folk Song of the Year for Peace. Yeah.
It's also being played in the Upper Galilee for the soldiers in the Middle East that are in conflict, constant conflict. And we're getting emails and reports back from Israel that people are responding to this song that we're about to sing. So if you're a songwriter, if you're an artist, and you've got something in your heart, there's no better reward. That's worth $1 million. So we're really, really grateful, very, very fortunate, and very blessed for this song. It's also the first song we ever sang together, ever. It's called Soldiers in the Army of Mercy and Peace, and we invite you all to join the Army tonight. I bet you didn't expect to be enlisted when you walked in here. Door in the middle of the night, didn't know what we ran for, through the snow and the ice, headed straight for the border, just to keep warm, trying to find our mother in the middle of the storm. We entered the city just before dawn, singing, isn't it a pity something went wrong? Said a prayer in the corner of a room filled with mirrors. A young girl gave a warning. She said, don't interfere. No time for hesitation, to say the least. We are soldiers in the army of mercy and peace.
Well, we fell into a circle of imaginary friends, in line for a morsel, forgiveness of sin. Looked up from the tower as the clock struck 12 on the evening of power. St. Mary's bell.
We are gathered at the table. We stand
time, finally odds in our favor to make sure this work is done.
No weapons of destruction, no more guns designed to kill, no more rules of mass instruction that annihilate free will.
We will raise our hands in
Freedom and our love will never cease. We are soldiers in the army of mercy and peace. We survive in a holocaust of treachery and deceit. We will fight no matter what the cost. We will not accept defeat. We are held in a higher hand, held to a higher truth, called to be a chosen man, no matter what we do. There's a light behind this curtain. There's a voice that calls our name. There's a future that is certain, making free from dust to shame. Now we drink from a commonwealth, and our prayers have been received. We are soldiers in the army of mercy and peace. We are soldiers in the army of mercy and
Give it up for Joe Kidd and Sheila Burke.
That's it? All right,
So,
that's great.
yes,
You
yes.
did it.
Thank
Give
you
them a thing
again.
to do.
We actually do have some lighthearted stuff. One of these days we're going to do it for you.
We'll do it when there's peace on earth. We'll sing a happy, that's a happy song.
You know what, we're going to match this other gentleman's fine offer with our CDs also to make a donation to the cause tonight.
Amen.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much. So just real quick, if everybody could close their eyes and point to themselves. Close your eyes and point to yourself. And Conley Mills taught me this. If you close your eyes and point to yourself, now you can open them back up. One time I forgot to say that, and a second grader kept them closed the whole talk, but most of you are pointing right here to your heart, right? And that's sometimes the only thing that people remember you for or want to remember you for is your heart. So 2 fingers up for peace, and know that 1 finger is yourself, the other finger is someone you're trying to lift up higher than yourself if you choose that, right? If you go to the last slide, on top of please supporting David Neffish, Joe Kidd, Sheila Burke, my wife Samantha in the corner helping me out back there. She's made some, thank you so much. She's made some dog collars. She's a great seamstress too, and a dog groomer, but these are not just your regular dog collars, these are peace dog collars. So if you put it on your pooch, they will be totally peaceful, all right? But if you want to support that, I have these shirts, CDs, DVDs, and please support these artists. That's one way to continue the message, but more importantly, just continue it by how you choose to live going forward. You guys have touched our hearts immensely. And remember, before you blink, you're all grown up and life has passed you by. Because you weren't fully present and then you wonder why. People are dying with the music still left inside and wishing they found their purpose at age 25. Or 32 or in their 80s, really any time. Just so long as they found it before their last rites. I've had friends tell me, peace, I need something besides the drugs. They want to get involved in serving others out of love. Then other buddies who have asked me for more volunteer opportunities so they can bring some more cheer. They want to give more than they have been, especially to kids living on the streets or in an orphanage. So do something major, minor, heck, do something drastic. Just do something, but please don't wreak no more havoc. And while you're at it, now that you are spiritually awoken, make sure to change those around you through every word that's spoken. Word. Please, if it makes sense to continue my message, I know the Citizens for Peace have been great, helping to sponsor a school or two each school year to bring more of the kindness, peace, and love to our youth that need it. But that's the main website, social media. I know a couple of you already asked me how to contact me to bring me to a school, K through 12. I'd love to share my heart. If it makes sense, I have the time and energy. I'm in 15 states alone this school year, so please continue to pray for my ministry, my stamina, strength, as well as these other amazing artists and just everyone here and wherever you're being called to serve, and keep spreading the peace. Thank you for tonight. God bless you. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, did we have an experience of peace and love and mercy